Hello, my dear friends. As we get older, especially into our 70s and beyond, life starts to feel a little different, and in many ways, it should. We have lived full lives, raised families, built careers, and taken care of others for decades. And now, it is time we start taking better care of ourselves, beginning with one simple truth. Not every household chore still deserves our time, our energy, or our bodies. You see, for many years, I believed that every part of my home had to be spotless. Every corner had to be scrubbed. Every little thing had to be in perfect order. But over time, I began to ask myself, why? Why was I exhausting myself doing tasks that no longer brought value to my life? Tasks that honestly, no one else even noticed? If you are over 70 years old, just like me, you have earned the right to let some things go. You do not need to prove anything to anyone anymore. You do not need to bend, lift, scrub, or polish just to feel like your home is good enough. It already is. So in today's video, I want to walk with you through 10 common household chores that simply are not worth doing anymore. Not because we are giving up, but because we are finally choosing what matters most. Our health, our time, our peace of mind. Let us talk about how to simplify, how to release old habits, and how to live with more ease in the home we love, because you deserve that, and so much more. Number 1, moving heavy furniture to vacuum underneath. For many years, I believed that every inch of my home needed to be spotless, even the areas no one ever sees. I used to move heavy couches, dining room chairs, side tables, even bookshelves, all just to vacuum the space beneath them. I convinced myself that if I left a single speck of dust under the furniture, I was somehow letting my home fall into neglect. I would strain my back, hold my breath, push, lift, twist, and by the end of it, I was too sore to enjoy the rest of the day. But let me ask you something. When was the last time someone came over and looked underneath your sofa? Has anyone ever said, "Wow, you really keep the space behind your recliner clean"? Of course not, because they never notice. And even if they did, that tiny corner of dust would not change the way they feel about you or your home. I eventually realized that this habit of overcleaning hidden spaces came from a place of pressure, not from practicality. I was putting expectations on myself that no one else had, and honestly, I was doing it at the expense of my body. These days, I take a gentler approach. I no longer move heavy furniture every week. I use a small robotic vacuum cleaner that glides underneath and picks up what it can. It does not get every last crumb, but it gets enough. And that is what matters. If you do not have a robotic vacuum, that is perfectly fine. You can simply do a more thorough cleaning under the furniture once or twice a year, perhaps during spring or autumn cleaning. The rest of the time, let those hidden dust bunnies live their quiet little lives. They are not hurting anyone. Letting go of this chore has given me back my energy and my sense of peace. And more importantly, it has taught me that a clean home is not about chasing perfection. It is about creating comfort. It is about living in a space that feels good to you, not your neighbor, not your family. Number 2, ironing bed sheets. Now here's a chore I used to take a strange kind of pride in: ironing bed sheets. I thought it was the mark of a truly well-kept home. Every week, I would drag out the ironing board, heat up the iron, and spend what felt like hours smoothing out every wrinkle and crease. Fitted sheets were especially stubborn. They would twist and bunch and never quite cooperate, no matter how hard I tried. But I kept at it, believing that smooth sheets meant I was doing things the right way. But let me tell you the truth. No one ever saw those ironed sheets. No guest came into my bedroom to admire the corners or comment on how flat the pillowcases were. The only person who even noticed, or rather who knew, was me. And here is the funny part. They would wrinkle the moment I lay down on them anyway. So why was I spending all that time and energy doing something that brought me no real joy and no practical reward? One day, I asked myself that question, and I could not find a good answer. So I changed the routine. Now, I take my sheets out of the dryer right away, give them a good shake, and put them directly on the bed. They are clean. They are fresh. They are soft. That is what matters. And guess what? I sleep just as well, maybe even better, knowing I did not wear myself out in the process. Sometimes we keep old habits just because they were passed down to us. Maybe our mothers did them. Maybe we learned that this is what a good homemaker does. But that does not mean we need to keep doing them forever. At this stage in life, it is not about impressing anyone. It is about conserving our energy for the things that do matter, like sharing a phone call with someone you love, taking a walk in the sunshine, or simply enjoying a peaceful moment with your thoughts. Ironing sheets may look fancy, but comfort has nothing to do with how flat the fabric is. Comfort is how you feel when you climb into bed, and there is nothing more comforting than knowing you have let go of unnecessary burdens. Number 3, washing rugs and throw blankets too often. There was a time when I believed that everything in my home needed to be washed constantly, especially the throw blankets and rugs. If a guest sat on the couch, I would wash the throw the next day. If a rug looked a little wrinkled or dusty, I would roll it up, haul it outside, shake it out, and squeeze it into the washing machine. It felt endless and exhausting. At the heart of it, I was trying to make everything look fresh and new. But what I failed to recognize is that our homes are not meant to look untouched. They are meant to feel lived in. A little wear, a little softness, even a few gentle stains. They tell the story of a space that is being loved, not neglected. Washing heavy items like rugs and blankets too often actually wears them down. The fibers fray, the softness disappears, and the fabric fades. I started to notice that the more I washed, the older everything began to look. And still, I kept doing it. Until one day, I realized I was working against myself. Now I take a simpler approach. If something has a visible stain, I spot clean it. If it smells, I wash it. But most of the time, a simple shakeout and a quick vacuuming around the rug is more than enough. I let the textures soften. I let the edges curl a little, and I let those blankets carry their character. They are not just decorations. They are part of my daily comfort. Letting go of this constant cleaning cycle has brought more warmth into my life, both literally and emotionally. Because the truth is, nobody comes into your home to inspect your textiles. They come to be near you, to feel the peace and ease that you offer. And that ease begins when you stop overworking yourself for appearances that only you are keeping track of. Number 4, scrubbing baseboards by hand. Oh, baseboards. I used to see them as the silent judges of my home. Every little scuff mark or dust line felt like a sign that I was falling behind. So, I would get down on my hands and knees with a bucket of warm soapy water, a sponge and a towel, and I would scrub every inch, room by room. I told myself that clean baseboards meant I was still keeping things together, that I was still in control. But here's the truth. No one ever noticed. No one ever said, your baseboards look amazing today." They would admire the flowers on the table, the smell of dinner, or the stories we shared. But never, not once, did the baseboards come up. And yet, I was straining my knees and hurting my back for this invisible standard I had set for myself. The time I spent scrubbing those edges could have been used doing something I actually enjoyed, reading a book, writing a letter, or calling someone I missed. Now, I have let that obsession go. Instead of scrubbing by hand, I use a long-handled duster or mop every couple of weeks. If I see a noticeable spot, I wipe it with a damp cloth. Quick and easy. No more bending down. No more feeling like I am failing. if there is a bit of dust. The funny thing is, since making that change, I feel better about my home. It no longer feels like a never-ending list of chores. It feels like a space that supports me, not one I have to fight with. There is such freedom in recognizing that we do not need to do everything the way we always have. As we age, our time becomes even more precious and our energy more valuable. Save it for things that fill you up, not for tasks that only empty you out. Number 5. Replacing every burned-out light bulb immediately. For years, the moment a light bulb went out in my home, it felt like an emergency. I would stop whatever I was doing, grab a stepladder, search for the right bulb, and replace it immediately. I could not stand the idea of even one corner of my house being dim. But looking back now, I wonder, why the rush? The world does not stop turning because one light bulb goes out. The room does not lose its meaning. And honestly, climbing up and down ladders in our 70s and beyond is not something we should be doing on impulse. It is risky, it is tiring, and most of the time, it can wait. These days, if a light goes out in a spot that I do not use often, I simply let it be until it is convenient. If it is in a main area, I might ask for help or wait until I am already planning to take care of other tasks. And most importantly, I always keep a small supply of bulbs in an easy-to-reach spot, so I am never digging through drawers or cabinets looking for one. The truth is, being older does not mean we have to be less capable. It means we get to be wiser. We learn to choose our efforts more carefully. There is no award for replacing a light bulb the minute it goes out. But there is real reward in protecting your safety, your energy, and your peace of mind. Let the bulb wait. Let the room be a little dim. Sometimes the soft light is more comforting anyway. Number 6. Deep cleaning the garage or attic frequently. Now here is a chore that used to haunt me: the garage and the attic. Every few months, I would go in determined to get it under control. I would spend hours digging through old boxes, moving around paint cans, trying to sort through tools, and deciding which items to donate or throw away. And by the end of the day, I would be exhausted, covered in dust, and questioning whether it was all worth it. The answer? It was not. Because no matter how much I cleaned, those spaces never stayed that way for long. The clutter came back. The order fell apart. And honestly, no one in my life cared whether the garage looked like a showroom or not. Eventually, I realized that the garage and the attic do not need to be perfect. They just need to be safe and functional. Now, instead of trying to do a full clean-out every few months, I take a more relaxed approach. I do a simple check once or twice a year to make sure nothing dangerous is sitting around. No expired chemicals, no broken tools. If I am feeling motivated, I might clear out one corner at a time. The rest, I leave alone. That shift in mindset brought me so much peace. Because here's the thing: our homes should serve us, not the other way around. And that includes the messy corners and hidden spaces. They do not need to be flawless. They just need to be useful. So if your garage is a little chaotic, or your attic is packed with old boxes, do not let that weigh on your mind. Tidy what matters. Let the rest be. Life is too short to spend it sorting screws in a place no one sees. Number 7. Polishing silverware regularly. There was a time when I treated my silverware like family heirlooms, precious, sacred, and in need of constant care. Before every holiday meal or special dinner, I would open that velvet-lined drawer, take out the old silver set, and spend hours gently polishing each piece. I would rub away every spot of tarnish, trying to bring back the shine it once had. To me, polished silver meant I was doing things right. It meant tradition, elegance, and pride. But after many years of doing this, something became clear to me. At every gathering, guests would smile and compliment the meal, the atmosphere, the conversation, and the music. They noticed the warmth of the home, not the forks in their hands. Not once did someone say, "Your spoon is so shiny," or "This knife is gleaming beautifully." All that polishing, all that effort, was something only I noticed, and it left me tired before anyone had even arrived. Then I began to ask myself, why am I doing this? If the joy of hosting is in the connection, not the cutlery, why am I pouring my energy into something no one cares about? Now, I do things differently. I save the silverware for truly special moments, and even then, I use quick wipes or a gentle polish that takes just a few minutes. Most of the time, I rely on my stainless steel utensils, which are durable, easy to clean, and just as beautiful in their own simple way. Polishing silverware used to be about presentation. Now I realize it is about presence. It is better to sit at the table with energy to laugh and share than to arrive feeling worn out from polishing forks. And honestly, the people I love do not come to my home to admire my silver. They come to spend time with me. Number 8. Washing walls monthly. There was a period in my life when I believed that the walls of my home had to be as spotless as the floors. I would set aside a day each month to fill a bucket with water and soap, grab a sponge, and scrub every wall from top to bottom. I would clean areas no one ever touched and wipe away spots no one else could see. To me, it was a sign of discipline, order, and care. But as time passed, I started to notice something. No one else was paying attention. Guests would comment on how cozy my home felt, how they loved the smell of something baking in the oven, or how welcoming the living room looked. No one ever said, "These walls are remarkably clean." I was pushing myself to keep up a standard that existed only in my own mind. And the cost? Aching arms, sore shoulders, a full day lost to a chore that brought me no peace. So I stopped. Now, I clean the walls only when needed. I pay attention to spots that actually matter. Smudges near light switches, fingerprints around doorways, the occasional stain in the hallway. Once a year, usually during spring cleaning, I give the house a more thorough touch-up. But gone are the days when I felt like the entire home had to be washed like a car. The truth is, most of us carry habits from our younger years when we had more energy and different priorities. But at this stage in life, we deserve to rethink those routines. A clean wall will never be more important than a healthy back or a relaxed mind. Let your home be lived in. Let the walls tell their quiet story. A mark here or there does not make your house less beautiful. In fact, it makes it feel more like home. Number 9. Organizing the pantry obsessively. Ah, the pantry. That tiny room or cabinet where we store the comforts of daily life. Soups, cereals, spices, snacks. For years, I treated my pantry like a museum. Every item had to be perfectly placed. All the labels had to face forward. I would reorganize the entire thing every month, convinced that true order meant pulling everything out, wiping the shelves, checking expiration dates, and arranging it all just so. It gave me a sense of control, especially during times when life outside felt unpredictable. But that monthly ritual soon began to feel more like a burden than a joy. I would spend hours on my feet, stretching to the back of shelves, lifting heavy jars and lining up boxes like they were on display at a store. And for what? No one else ever noticed. My family knew where the coffee and soup were, and that was enough for them. I started to realize that I was doing all of this to meet a silent standard I had placed on myself, one that no longer matched my energy, my needs, or my stage in life. These days, my pantry is still organized, but in a way that supports my life, not controls it. I have a few clear bins for items like snacks, baking goods, and canned food. I check for expired items when I feel like it, usually just once or twice a year. And instead of rearranging everything monthly, I just make sure I can find what I need when I need it. The pantry does not need to be perfect. It just needs to be functional. If I know where the tea is and I can reach the peanut butter without a struggle, then I am doing just fine. Letting go of this obsessive routine gave me more time to actually enjoy the food I have, rather than constantly managing it. And at the end of the day, the pantry is not a showcase. It is a place that serves you, not the other way around. Number 10. Hand washing dishes every night. This one took me the longest to let go of, maybe because it was so deeply tied to how I saw myself, as a homemaker, as someone who took pride in a tidy kitchen, as someone who always cleaned as she went. For decades, after every meal, I would stand at the sink, sometimes for an hour or more, scrubbing pots and pans, rinsing plates, drying glasses, and putting everything away before I allowed myself to rest. There was something almost sacred about it. I told myself it was about discipline, about not letting the mess pile up, about taking care of my home properly. And to be honest, it gave me a strange sense of accomplishment. A clean sink at night felt like a job well done. But what I did not realize was how much it was also costing me. Even after the cooking, serving, eating, and cleaning up the table, I was still on my feet, still working, still wiping, still doing. By the time I finally sat down, the evening was nearly over. I had missed the time to unwind, to enjoy the quiet, to talk with my family, or to simply sit with a cup of tea and rest. I did not see it at first, but slowly it became clear. This routine was no longer serving me. It was wearing me out. Eventually, I made a change. I began to use the dishwasher, not just for big meals or when guests came over, but for everyday use, and I gave myself permission to let it do the job. No guilt, no shame, just a quiet click, and the machine hums while I relax in the living room. Of course, if there is a special dish that needs to be washed by hand, I still do it. But I no longer force myself to scrub every little thing every single night. I realized that the dishes could wait. The joy of resting could not. And for those who do not have a dishwasher, I offer this thought. You do not have to do it all at once. You can wash in stages. Do a few pieces after breakfast, a few more after lunch, or even leave it for the morning when your energy is fresh. There is no rule that says dishes must be done immediately, perfectly, and in silence. What matters more than a spotless kitchen is how you feel inside that kitchen. Are you calm? Are you present? Are you spending your time the way you want to? We live in a culture that praises productivity, even in old age, but there is such quiet strength in saying, no, not tonight. There is wisdom in choosing peace over pressure. Let the dishes wait. Let the water rest. Let yourself sit down, breathe, and simply enjoy the evening. Because after a lifetime of caring for others, of running kitchens and folding laundry and scrubbing pans, you deserve to end your days in peace, not in soap suds. And remember, no one has ever looked back on their life and said, I wish I had washed more dishes. But many have said, I wish I had spent more time with the people I love, doing the things that filled my soul. Tonight, choose the latter. My dear friends, if you take away just one thing from today's message, let it be this. You are not lazy for letting go. You're not selfish for choosing rest. You're wise for recognizing what truly matters now. We spend so many years of our lives doing, cleaning, organizing, preparing, caring for homes, for families, for others. But there comes a time, especially after 70, when we are called to care for ourselves just as gently. Not with guilt, not with shame, but with grace. Letting go of unnecessary chores does not mean letting go of pride. It means shifting your energy toward what fills you, not what drains you. It means making room for the quiet joy of simply being. So whether it is the dishes in the sink, the dust under the couch, or the wrinkle in the bedsheet, choose to let it be. Choose peace over pressure. Choose presence over perfection. Because your home is not defined by spotless corners. It is defined by the love that lives inside it. And you, just as you are more than enough.